Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful framework from Deus y Nós Igreja Online. It's all about mapping that inner journey we all feel, a journey from being at war with ourselves to a place of willing service.
God and Us presents Proclamation to the Nation.
I mean, let's start with this question because it gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? That feeling of being pulled in totally different directions, where it feels like your own mind, your own desires are your biggest opponent. Well, the source material we're digging into today says this isn't just some passing mood. It's the fundamental state of the human condition. So let's unpack that. Let's start with this idea of a war within ourselves, because according to this teaching, this is the core conflict. Now, the source is really specific here. This isn't just, a simple struggle between good and bad choices. No, it's presented as a full-on war between two completely opposite natures that live inside of us. The flesh, which is our fallen self-centered nature, and the spirit, which is the divine nature of God. And they are in constant opposition. And just to be super clear, when the source talks about the flesh, it doesn't just mean your physical body or, say, the temptation to eat a second piece of cake. It's describing an entire operating system, a state of being that's all about self-interest, what you can get, and desires that are just fundamentally at odds with God's will. Okay, so if it's a war, how do you win it? Well, you'd think the answer is just to try harder, right? To be better. But here's the twist. The source argues that this very approach, relying on the law or a set of rules, can actually create a devastating trap that makes the war even worse. This quote really nails the problem. According to this framework, the law works like a giant, glaring spotlight. It's incredibly good at showing you every single one of your screw-ups. But in doing that, it can lock you into this endless cycle of guilt and a constant, crushing awareness of your own sin. And this is the paradox, right? The harder you focus on not breaking the rules, the more you become aware of how impossible it is to keep them perfectly. And law is right there to remind you of every failure. So instead of setting you free, this view says the law actually ends up enslaving you to your own shortcomings. So if trying to follow the rules is a trap, what on earth is the alternative? Well, the source proposes it's not about trying harder at all. It's about something much more radical, choosing your Lord. A total shift in who you answer to. To explain this, the source uses the incredible story of the prodigal son. And if you look closely, it wasn't just the son who ran away that had it wrong. The son who stayed home, he was just as focused on his reward, on what he thought he deserved. You see, both sons wanted the father's stuff, the blessings, the inheritance, but neither of them actually wanted the father to be their Lord. And this quote, wow, it just makes it all crystal clear. The argument is that so many of us treat God like a cosmic waiter, just there to take our order and bring us what we want. But real, lasting transformation only comes when we submit to Him as Lord, not just when we ask for things from Him as a Savior. So this is it. This is the absolute heart of the matter. The real battle isn't just about fighting off temptations here and there. It's a war of lordship. It's a choice. Who will you serve? Will you keep serving that self-driven nature of the flesh, or will you surrender and choose to serve the Spirit of God as your new Lord? Okay, so if you can't earn your way out of this mess, how is freedom even possible? The source frames the solution not as something you achieve, but as a gift you receive, a debt that has been completely, totally paid in full. From this theological viewpoint, the logic is really simple. If you could actually become perfect by following all the rules, then Christ's sacrifice on the cross would have been pointless, completely unnecessary. So trying to earn your own way to righteousness basically makes his death meaningless. And this brings us to this incredibly powerful image from the source material, a giant stamp that says pago, which is Portuguese for paid. The idea is that the debt of sin has been so completely and finally settled by Christ that no one can ever bring a charge against you again. The account is closed, the bill is paid, period. So, the debt is paid. You've chosen a new Lord. What does this new life actually look like from day to day? Well, according to the source, it's a life that is actively guided. To explain this, the source points to this really interesting Greek word, ago, And it's so important because it doesn't mean being dragged around like a puppet on a string. It describes a willing partnership. It's a conscious choice to be led, to be conducted by the Spirit. Your free will isn't taken away. It's just finally pointed in the right direction. So this willing guidance leads to a complete shift in your whole focus. Instead of being obsessed with sin, you become conscious of righteousness. You're free from that constant condemnation of the law, and your life starts to naturally produce the fruit of the Spirit, things like love, joy, and peace, instead of the works of the flesh. But the journey doesn't just end there. The source concludes with one last and pretty sobering challenge that puts this whole new life to the ultimate test. The source uses this incredible metaphor. It says your life is like a building. Christ is the one and only foundation, but you get to choose the materials you build with. Are you building with temporary stuff like wood, hay, and straw? Things motivated by ego, fame, or personal gain? Or are you building with eternal materials like gold, silver, and precious stones? Works that are done purely to glorify God.
And here's the kicker. A day is coming when a fire will test everything you've built. Now, this isn't a test of your salvation. That's secure. That's the foundation. No, this is a test of the quality and the motive of your life's work. All that temporary, self-serving stuff, it'll just be burned up. It'll vanish like smoke.
And so we are left with this final, provocative question. It's a challenge to really look at our own lives, our own motivations, and what we're actually building day in and day out. When that fire comes to test it all, what will be left of your work?